Veterans of the 20-year war in Afghanistan are feeling the impacts of the fall of Kabul to the Taliban. The Veteran Crisis Line said it is receiving more calls than ever. They say many of the vets report feeling grief, anger, and fear over what's to come. CBS News' Deborah Alfarone reports.
Jeff Hurley enlisted in the Army a few months before the September 11th attacks and served until 2013. He says he feels America let down the people of Afghanistan.
We have absolutely and completely abandoned the Afghan people. The people that speak to your heart, those that can't fight themselves, the women, the children.
Dr. Caitlin Thompson with Cohen Veterans Network says veterans experiencing a range of emotions are reaching out in numbers.
Grief and anger, a lot of sadness, there's a lot of fear, anxiety. There's also some fear that they failed their mission, and they're concerned that people are also looking at them and thinking, you know, what did you do this whole time, which I think is devastating.
The Department of Defense is reminding veterans what is happening now does not minimize or negate their service. The DoD is also encouraging veterans to take advantage of mental health resources.
If you do have a veteran or a military family member, just say, hey, I just want to acknowledge that things must be really hard in terms of how you're doing right now. And I am here for you, and I'm ready to talk anytime you are, and I can help find resources if you need them.
Just really feel, for the Afghan people.
Retired Sergeant Major John Plassey served 2 tours in Afghanistan. He encourages those struggling to reach out.
So maybe they're in their mind thinking, I'm going to give up too. Well, please don't do that. Please reach out. Please seek help, and it's not a sign of weakness by any means, it's a sign of strength.
And mental health professionals want veterans to know they are not alone in what they're feeling. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News.
For more on this, I want to bring in Lisa Kearney and Sonya Norman. Lisa is the director of the Veterans Crisis Line. Sonya is the director of the PTSD Consultation Program at the National Center for PTSD. Lisa, first of all, have you seen an increase in calls for help because of what we're seeing in Afghanistan?
Yes, we have. We've been concerned about current events and how that's in fact impacting veterans and those across the nation. And we've noticed a increase on the number of calls in the Veterans Crisis Line over the last several days.
And Sonya, can you talk more about what's triggering these veterans at this time?
I think when you go and serve, you want to see the meaning, you want to see the results, and where we are right at this moment, a lot of veterans are questioning, was there a value to what I did? I made so many sacrifices, my health, people I cared about maybe lost their lives. What does it all mean?
Especially since we're seeing some of those images out of Afghanistan. It's obviously troubling, especially for those who served. Lisa, what are some of the signs that people who may know a veteran should look out for? Loved ones are, I'm sure, aware of what's going on, and they want to watch their loved one to make sure that there's not any signs. But can you give us some of those signs?
Certainly, of course. I think one of the things to really be watching for is people withdrawing, questioning kind of their value of the service that they provided, beginning to feel distraught, depressed, and then withdrawn from other people. I'd be looking for ways to actively reach out, check in on people, and engage them at this time and remind them of how important they are, not only to the loved ones in their life, but the difference they've made then and now.
And then Lisa, obviously, they're trained to have battle buddies, but post-battle, back stateside, something to keep up, obviously, with their friends and loved ones who they serve with. Sonya, remind people what resources are available to veterans should they need them.
Absolutely. Well, Lisa could speak more about the crisis line, which she runs, which is available for 24/7 for veterans who are in crisis or who have a loved one who is, and she can give us that info. We also, veterans are welcome to come into the VA. If they have a mental health provider, they can speak to that person. If they don't yet, they can ask for one. We also have vet centers that have counselors prepared to talk to people and offer support. The VA has been putting together a lot of information, coping strategies, suggestions for ways to reach out and connect. So look for those in emails, on blog posts. There's a lot of great information there.
And Lisa, what can family members and friends of veterans do to help people who they know may be struggling?
Well, I think it's really important to reach out actively, check on individuals, begin to kind of, if you know that somebody might be struggling, call them up. Reach out, grab a coffee with them. But also, I think it's really important that we all save the number for the Veterans Crisis Line in our phones, and that we have that actively handy in case someone is starting to feel in times of crisis. And it's 1-800-273-8255, and then press 1. Save it in your phone now. You never know when you might need to send that over to somebody else to utilize, or utilize it yourself.
1-800-273-8255, press 1. All right. Well,
Yep.
Lisa Kearney, Sonya Norman, thank you very much for your time. We want to remind those watching that if you or someone you know is in need of help, you can call the Veterans Crisis Line. That number again, 1-800-273-8255, and press 1. Please write this number down or save it. Take a screen cap your phone right now if you're streaming. They can connect you to a certified crisis center in your area.